Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. I want to thank you because after my son's heart surgery, when the Fox News community was attacking me, you sent me a very nice email, and I know your son had a heart surgery as well. How is your son doing? He's doing well?
He's doing great. Paul, well, first of all, I wanted to reach out because I'm a father who went through the same thing.
Yes.
And I sat in those hospital rooms listening to beeps, and I wanted to reach out to you and say, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Our son, Paul, went through 3 open heart surgeries, 9 angioplasties. He's doing awesome. And
that's great.
And I know Billy's going to do the same.
He's doing great, too, yeah. Thank you for, and thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Now, you were in the news. You are the news, but you were in the news as well last week.
Which is not a good thing.
Whenever
we're in the news.
I thought it was a good thing, and I'll tell you what. Let's play. This is after the White House excluded a reporter from CNN from a press briefing, and this was your comment on that.
CNN says one of its reporters was stopped from covering the president's trade announcement late this afternoon in the Rose Garden, and CNN has just issued a statement. This decision to bar a member of the press is retaliatory in nature and not indicative of an open and free press. We demand better. As a member of the White House press pool, Fox stands firmly with CNN on this issue of access.
I found it reassuring to see members of journalists sticking together, even though you're competitors and even though you're not exactly on the same page from a network standpoint. But I found it to be reassuring. It
was a no-brainer. You know, I'm on the news side of the House, and you have to stand for access. This is a credentialed person. You know, I wrote a book about Reagan. Sam Donaldson was yelling questions they didn't like in the Reagan White House either, but he was never denied access. And to Fox News' credit, they stood up right away. I mean, it was instantaneous. We put up the chain, it happened, and then I got it on the show with the approval of Fox management. So Jay Wallace put out a statement, our president, and it was a no-brainer. We were standing with CNN.
Has anything like that ever happened before?
Yes.
While you were working in news?
In fact, when the Obama White House in 2009, I had just taken over for Bret Hume as anchor, and they tried to deny Fox News a round-robin interview, and CNN stood up, and Jake Tapper said, if Fox is not doing it, we're not doing it. And so being a member of the White House press pool is something. And I think we need to always stand for that.
And I think it's important also because it seems that the president gets most of his information directly from Fox News. So when you say something, at least we know he's going to hear it, and he knows it's not coming from an enemy source. Does the president watch your show?
I know he watches my show because we have a panel discussion, and it'll be on a topic, and then suddenly a tweet will come out about that topic. And during the panel, I'll say, just in, the president says X, Y, and Z. Obviously, I think he likes the opinion shows a little bit better than the news shows on Fox.
I see.
But he definitely watches.
Would you like to split Fox News into news and opinion so that you are not all lumped together? I would imagine that Shepard Smith and Chris Wallace and yourself, that sometimes you're not crazy about being part of, just perception-wise, being a part of that.
Here's the thing. We're one team. We're one company. We're 2 different businesses entirely. The biggest problem is that people who are the most critical of Fox are usually people who have not watched Fox News.
People do lump certain things together.
So I say, watch my show 3 times, drop me an email, let me know what you think, and then tell me if it's fair.
And go from there. I think that's a fair way to go about doing it. Now, your book, Ronald Reagan, it's funny, I was reading a quote from Ronald Reagan today, and Ronald Reagan said, any person in the United States who requires medical attention and cannot provide for himself should have it provided for him. That's from 1961. Would the Republicans today, would they embrace Ronald Reagan? I know we look at him as this wonderful mythical creature. Do you think the real Ronald Reagan today would go over?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, he might have a challenge in a primary today. But Ronald Reagan was amazing at articulating his message. Now, remember, I mean, he was not exactly welcomed in Washington. He was an outsider at the time. He was considered kind of a bomb thrower during that time. If you translate to this time, it's a lot different.
No, he would not be considered a bomb thrower. He'd barely even be a thrower,
He had He had a sign on his Oval Office desk that says, "You can accomplish anything. There's no limit to what a man can do or where he can do it, as long as he doesn't care who gets credit for it." I mean, that sign is
Just
obviously...
like President Trump.
That sign is not obviously on this desk, but...
Well, this is the book. It's called 3 Days in Moscow. It's available now. Bret Baier, everybody. Thank you for being here, Bret. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel, and I am not allowed to eat this cookie until you click the subscribe button. So please click now. I'm hungry.